Hi, Juan. Nice meeting you, and thank you so much. And I'm glad to having you today for interview Filecoin Day meetup in Korea. And I'm hosting a event in Korea. It's a K-pop and Filecoin Day. So I would like to connect the K entertainment, media, and K contents to Filecoin network storage. Could you say some greeting to the Korean community?
Yeah, thank you so much for having me here. It's an honor to be speaking to everyone. I hope you're having a great day and today's awesome. I wish I was there with you, but a huge greeting to the entire Korean community. I really hope to be with you in person next year. And yeah, I hope this is a great time. I hope you learn a lot. I hope this is a great event. And huge thank you to Team One, everybody involved in organizing. This is a great event.
So what is the current roadmap and how community is working on the Filecoin development? And I see Korean community is I see many medias, they are really interested in Retrieval. So could you please do some updates on it?
Yeah, totally. So there's a lot of teams working on Filecoin across many areas of the stack. So everything from kind of improvements to how storage providing works and how data ingestion works, to how retrieval works, to then running computation around it and FEM and so on. So the network has spent the last couple of years building a huge amount of capacity. And so we built the largest decentralized network by many orders of magnitude. It is now so big that it can finally compete with large-scale centralized providers, right? So we're I think at 17 exabytes of capacity now, which is a super massive level of scale, and that's starts to be competitive with centralized providers. Now, in the last year, we've been very focused on onboarding a lot of data. So this includes building a lot of data storage on-ramps, improving and scaling the Filecoin Plus program to be able to enable a lot of participants to lean on incentive structures to bring on really valuable data sets into the network. And we've helped support a lot of different applications that are building on top of Filecoin to build new storage use cases. So things like music players and video players and metaverse applications and games and document systems and personal file storage tools and company distributed work tools and so on. So lots of different kinds of applications are being built on the Filecoin that will bring a lot of data into the network. And so all of that is growing. Now the roadmap for the development teams, there's a few different tracks. So one track is around improving a lot of the core functionality of storage providers and improving there's a lot of tooling and important pieces that need to get refined. So think of things like the Boost system that brings in a much better way of making storage deals and being able to kind of use storage providers a much better view into all of the data that they're storing. Then there is all of the track around actual retrieval. So there are several different retrieval projects. So there's a large working group called the Retrieval Markets Working Group. And there are several different projects working on retrieval. As I'll mention, kind of one of them, Saturn, which is one of the ones that I know a lot about, which is a network that is building kind of regional sets of retrieval providers that are able to cache content. So think of it like a CDN that enables really fast retrievability of the content on Filecoin. There's another project related to retrieval, which is the network indexer, store the hash, which is that can enable storage providers to index all of their content and then be able to make it retrievable to end users. There's other networks like Titan and many others that are working on in different parts of the retrieval market.
Yeah, thank you so much.
And then
Yeah.
probably two other kind of important things to mention there. One is the FVM. So the Filecoin virtual machine is coming into the network. We just shipped the M1 upgrade and that. So now the network is running on Wasm smart contracts, which is really, really awesome.
Yeah.
And the next one that is coming ahead is M2. That'll introduce user-based smart contracts, and that'll add a lot of programmability to Filecoin.
Yeah.
Then after that comes compute over data. So that's being able to issue compute jobs over the data that people are storing on Filecoin. So think of being able to do large-scale machine learning pipelines or other kinds of compute jobs over the data that people have stored.
Yeah, I'm so excited to hear that. Like, it's real application and use case. So many SPs, they are working on the network growth in Korea, and I heard they are interested in the retrieval service provider. So, and when is it ready to use, and how do you think about the incentivize for the retrieval service providers?
Yeah, so there will be several different retrieval networks, and each network is going to tune for slightly different use cases, and you can imagine different incentive flows to them. Again, I'll mention one of them. So I think Saturn is one of the ones that I'm most familiar with. There's also Mile, which is another really a good set of tooling that has a different economic model. So the networks are now testing with large-scale amounts of traffic. So I know that Saturn, for example, is testing with millions of nodes and being able to serve things with very low latency, like sub-second latency, to kind of be able to serve traffic with like CDN, like production quality, CDN quality as people expected from any kind of cloud CDN. Now, I think when that's going to open up, it's sort of like up to the Saturn team. I think that they're sort of targeting sometime in Q3, Q4 for like the early version, but we'll see how it develops over time. It's one of these things where like better have like a really high quality network and then grow really fast from there than starting too early. But definitely join the Phil Saturn team channel on Slack to look for updates and so on. I know that they're looking for testers and so on. So if you want if you want to participate, go there. And I know that there are other networks like Mile and Mesos Mile and Titan and others are building their own retail markets, and as you should go check out those networks as well.
Yeah, and what is the incentivize? So how can like network providers or service providers get the economic benefits?
Yeah, so the Saturn model is going to start with an incentive structure based on publisher payment. So publishers are going to pay fees for hiring the CDN to store and serve the content, and then the retrieval providers are going to be paid some fees for all of the requests that they serve. So there's an incentive model based on paying for every single request that they serve out to end clients, as well as any kind of caching that they do in certain regions. So there's a goal to be able to kind of pin specific content to specific regions so that it can be served really quickly from that region. And so that needs to be incentivized as well.
Okay, thank you so much for your answer. Yeah, and I would like to jump to the next question. Like in Amsterdam, I first heard from you. You mentioned the Filecoin as a public good project, and recently we see the global climate change issues. So how can Filecoin contribute to the climate change issues? And I heard you also mentioning Filecoin Green going to be like carbon neutral, even carbon positive projects. So could you please mention about it?
Yeah, so look, climate change is a massive problem that's affecting humans worldwide, and it's something that we all have to work on it and make improvements. In particular, I think it's really important to be able to decarbonize a specific industry to then be able to show other industries that you can achieve full decarbonization and then set an example for other industries. So the people working on Filecoin Green, we think that it is great to start with crypto and get Web3 and crypto to be fully not just carbon neutral, but then actually climate positive. So actually be pulling carbon out of the air and fixing it. And the way that we want to do that is through blending verifiable claims and kind of carbon credits and renewable energy credits with Web3. So one of the really cool and exciting things about Web3 is that it gives you mechanism design directly in the blockchain. So that means that you have the ability to create transactions that couple with more complex functionality and more complex operations. Like you can start doing things like measuring the entire energy consumption use of the network, and then use that to buy renewable energy credits from renewable energy plants that are producing renewable energy in the particular grids connected to the source providers, right? So Filecoin Green is a project that is building a lot of measurement tools and then offsetting tools to be able to first take a look at what energy use the Filecoin network is having in specific energy grids around the world, and to then use offsetting tools to be able to offset all of the whatever energy use and carbon is produced, or ideally get to a point where the entire network is just only drawing energy from renewable energy plants worldwide. So ideally, we should be able to buy renewable energy credits from renewable energy plants in precisely the grids that the source providers are operating in. And so hopefully with that, we can get Filecoin to become fully carbon neutral, and then eventually carbon negative. So that means like climate positive, like it starts pulling carbon out of the air and fixing it so that wherever there is Filecoin in your community and in your area, Filecoin is having a net positive effect on the climate around it, so that it's a truly green computing platform and truly green computing network. And so already Filecoin has achieved a lot of it. So we have dashboards for all of the energy use with estimations across different energy grids of kind of what the energy use is. And we have bought renewable energy certificates from plant producers in across the world that are to be able to kind of to be able to count all of the energy that source providers end up using. So that's been a huge result. And we want to keep doing a lot more there to be able to get to a highly climate positive computing network.
That's awesome. Excited to hear that. And how can the Korean SPs they start Filecoin Green?
Yeah, so I would say just find out more about the project. You can go to the Slack channel. I think it's Phil Green, and I think Filecoin.energy is the dashboard that shows the energy used in the network, and I think green.filecoin.io is the website for the project. So go check those out and find out about the system and how it works and how to start using it.
Yeah, they're also interested in the incentivized. So are you guys working on the Filecoin Green incentivized economic model?
So the economic incentives of Filecoin Green, it's not clear what the economic incentives should be. For example, some people might say that the entire network should be operating with green incentives. Right now, a lot of the credits are being bought separately, and there are many specific source providers that are buying credits themselves. And so that already shows up in reputation systems. So for example, clients that really want to store data with green energy providers will choose those source providers. So they will bring their data and their use to those source providers. So think of at the end of the day, clients get data cap and they select which source providers to use. So if clients care a lot about green energy use, they're going to give their deals to those source providers. So there's a very strong economic incentive there for clients to pick green source providers.
Yeah, understand. Great. Thank you so much. And I think the next question is we have a SP's meetup in Korea by the Korean Blockchain Week, and I and Korean Native Media is hosting the Filecoin Day, a meetup in Korea. So we look forward next year we can host the Filecoin Summit in Korea. Yeah, would like to invite you.
That'd be awesome. That'd be great. Yeah, hopefully I'd love to be there, and I'd love to be there if the timing works out. I think if we plan it now and schedule it, yeah, I can make it out there.
Thank you. Yeah. At the end, the question is how would you, so we know you are inventor of IPFS Filecoin, and how would you positioning the IPFS Filecoin into the whole Web3 landscape?
Yeah, it's a great question. So, well, first, IPFS is a way of, think of it as the network to address and move the content of Web3. So you can use CIDs to address all of the data, both files and specific data structures and objects and so on. And then you can use Filecoin to back up that data and serve it to other people, including long-term archival storage or CDN fast delivery. We want the Filecoin network to be of great service to all users out there. So we want strong connections and bridges to every other strong blockchain out there. So we want it to be the case that whoever's building applications or smart contracts in any network or any chain, they reach for backing up all of their content directly on Filecoin. Filecoin is the largest, it's by many orders of magnitude, the largest storage network. We are at the scale of, again, 17 exabytes of capacity. We've surpassed 100 petabytes of actual storage used this year. I haven't even looked at the latest. Let's see what it is now.
It's more than 18.
Yeah, more than 18 exabytes of capacity. But what about the actual deals?
Okay.
For deals, we're now 140 petabytes of storage in actual usage, right? Which is really amazing. Like that is many orders of magnitude larger than the next large decentralized storage network. So that just sort of puts us as in the best category for storing all of the content produced by Web3 applications. It's really the only network that can handle proper web scale workloads, right? So if you think of large scale applications like TikTok or YouTube or Twitter or those kinds of applications that people around the world use, those require exabytes of storage and they require massive amounts of computation. And so only a network like Filecoin can actually handle those kinds of use cases. So now there's a lot of work to do to be able to support applications like that. There's all kinds of computational pipelines that need to land. We need to be able to make it, we need decentralized computational networks, and we need to make it easier to develop applications. But that's sort of where we and a lot of other groups are headed.
Yeah, I think so. So in the future, like K content or drama, movies, entertainment, we would like to share the data through Filecoin network. Like currently it's controlled by the centralized service providers, and the most benefits, like they get the most benefits, but we would like to bring back to the community, to the content creators, artists, So I think it will be a great use case in the future.
Yeah, I think so. It's not very far away. I think you can already first off, you can already store all that content on Filecoin, and already you can start retrieving it from specific storage providers, even through the IPFS gateway. I think once the Retrieval market comes online in the next few months, then we'll get sub-second, really fast, high bandwidth retrieval for all that data. So I think, just given how close that is, I would encourage developers to just start building it now.
Yeah.
Like if you're working on a media application and you're thinking of starting to use Filecoin for this, I would probably start developing now so you can launch alongside the Retrieval markets in the upcoming months.
Yeah. Thank you so much. Thank you for the interview. So my question is over. Do you have anything to mention?
Yeah, no, thank you. Thank you so much for having me. It's been great to be chatting. I'm sorry that I can't be there with you in person. I really look forward to doing that next year. And have a great time today. And maybe I'll leave you with one request, which is I have one ask for the Filecoin community, which is every month you should bring one new person into the Filecoin community. So just think of bringing one new friend or person who doesn't know about Filecoin. It could be a developer, it could be a storage provider, it could be somebody interested in being a retrieval provider, it could be somebody doing writing posts or something like that. But we want to grow the community around the world, especially in areas that where Filecoin is new. And so I think that way you can build a stronger community in your area.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. Great.
Well, thank you so much.
Take
care.
Yeah.